Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, 1974's Video Vixens. You can see that without the glare right there as best as possible. Video Vixens is put out, this is distributed by Troma. And it says, Television Will Never Be the Same, directed by Ronald Sullivan. A couple different interesting names there, back and forth. Because it states on the back here that it was directed, Ronald Sullivan, but then there's also Henry Packard, or Patchard, or something like that, which is also on IMDb, I believe. This was released by Troma. This is 1974, and Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz present this film. Okay, this is Video Vixens right here, folks. And I believe, well, this was actually distributed by Troma in the past, I believe in the past 6-7 years, actually, put on DVD. So this is 1974. Here it is, folks. Video Vixens. Now, the director of this film, if you look him up on IMDb, first off, he died at age 69. And if you look at the titles of some of the films that he's directed in the past, just unbelievable X-rated titles. Just do yourself a favor and look up this film on Google and then look up his titles. Great film titles. But let's get into Video Vixens. This is really a unique beast of a film where we are dealing with such things as conspiracy theories and American sexuality and human sexuality, and the conspiracy theories connected to limiting our sexuality and to, you know, conservatism and the way that there's this underlying, you know, today we talk about the Illuminati, but, you know, this underlying Illuminati of sorts that is trying to make us sterile and trying to make us, you know, asexual, and not making there to be real differences between men and women, and just not allowing, quote unquote, God's greatest gift of sexuality to flow freely through American households. Now you take that concept and then you also mix it with this film. Almost about, like, I think about 80% of the film is a live television broadcast of a Stag Films Awards show that is breaking through into American conservative conspiracy-laden late-night television and getting massive ratings, but also pissing off tons of people. But at the same time, as Howard Stern used to say, all the people that hate him listen to him, and all the people that love him listen to him, so you can't go wrong. So Video Vixens, for the vast majority of the film, you are getting a kind of this live television Academy Awards for Stag Films broadcast, complete with commercials throughout. So it's really quite a wild adventure, mixed with crazy, just crazy, offbeat, insane, vulgar comedy, and sexuality and fun, and it really feels late night. This film really feels late night. So let's get into this movie right here, folks. First and foremost, we're going to look at the music of this film. And the music of this film, you kind of have this jovial 70s, almost kind of a 70s kind of game show or type music, you know, do 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 do, yeah, something like that. And the music is kind of throughout, but we also have actual fake Stag Film clips throughout the Stag Films award show, which also have some music in there that almost sounds like it could be like what they were stating was riffing on kind of the library music of Stag Films, of sex films. And so you kind of have that throughout. There's not a ton of music in the film, but when it happens, it's jovial, fun, really feels like the 70s television, actually. Really like 70s television. When we look at the style of the film, we have a lot of different things going on here. The film starts off, and we kind of have this wild, as I stated previously, this wild conspiracy theory type of vibe going on, and television executives, and trying, this one television executive acting amazingly. What a great actor. Just really trying, he really believes that there is some sort of quote-unquote Illuminati of sorts. I'm using Illuminati in our modern dialect, but some sort of conspiracy that is over American television. And even movies, and he wants to break it. He wants to bring freedom. He wants to bring sexuality back. So we have that one style there, and it's very interesting to see his connection with this very, very conservative movie critic on television, and to see their interaction with each other, and then have it go to a live broadcast, and you're watching the broadcast for the duration of the film in real time, with commercials and with clips of the STAG films that are winning the awards, and the laugh track and the boo track and the clapping track and all of that behind the scenes of the broadcast and the broadcast itself. So it's really something special. And whenever they show the STAG film clips, they kind of have a blue tint to them. And the commercials are awesome. We got a lot of people in here too. John Alderman, awesome guy. He was in CB Hustlers, which I reviewed in this page. He was also in Little Miss Innocence, which I reviewed in this page. He's in a ton of stuff. Look him up. The man with the scar on his throat. We also have Rainbow Smith in here doing an awesome commercial for the STAG Film Awards for Twinkle Twat, which is something that all of the ladies need. We also have performances from somebody from Blazing Saddles, Flesh Gordon, Booby Trap. There's a lot of people in here, a lot of interesting people, and some people that you might notice are now the two women on here are I believe like Tromettes. They're not in the film at all. So a nice variety of cast members, but really, if you are a fan of Mr. George Buck Flower, this is his movie. Hands down, this is his movie. Look him up on IMDb. This man is in so many films, but I know him primarily as an actor who kind of is kind of a character actor who's in the background, who's in the side. He's a couple shots, a couple scenes. That's it. In this film, he's like one of the main actors in the film, and he is amazing. He goes for the throat. He is sleazy and wild, and even shows his penis. First time I've ever seen George Buck Flower's penis, and also his ass, and you see in the film. But he goes for the gusto in here. He hams it up, and he's amazing. If you know him as an actor, he typically kind of has that sleazy, southern drawl vibe to him. And in this film, if you love that, you are going to love him in Video Vixens. Holy crap. I mean, this is like the penultimate for George Buck Flower in this film. I mean, he's unbelievable in this movie. And so you have that, and you have kind of the styles of these made-up commercials, which are so great. And then, of course, of this made-up yet tense STAG Academy Awards show. So it really gives you a great vibe, and it reminds me, I reviewed a film on this YouTube page called Hot Flashes, which is an X-rated film. And in Hot Flashes, you kind of have a fake news broadcast. And you look at other films like Kentucky Fried Movie, and, filled with kind of, even UHF with Weird Al Yankovic and stuff like this. Now, Video Vixens is softcore, definitely. It's not hardcore at all. But the interesting thing is that you do see a ton of penis in here, and a ton of vagina in here. So while it's, it's not just your standard kind of, TNA flick, so to speak, teen sex comedy, or just a sex comedy in general. I mean, it definitely has, some heavier nudity in here, and even a couple shots that are almost like whoa, and some sexual situations with full nudity from the men and the women. I always find it refreshing when the guys take their pants off when they're simulating a sex scene, because it just makes it more believable, and we definitely have it in here. We have some very politically incorrect, hilarious things in here. We have some things in some very bad taste, which would not be popular in our 2017 society, which are just great. Even some of the words that they're using, sexual slang and slurs. There's a lot of dark humor in here, and there's also a lot of sexual humor in here, and a lot of almost gross out humor in here as well. Creatively done throughout. This is really a fun, almost 90-minute film. I believe about 80 minutes, about 80, I believe. And there's a real creative, wild, jovial vibe. There's this great shot near the beginning of the film where you're seeing kind of a bunch of shadow silhouettes in a room, and you just get closer and closer and closer to them. Very interesting shots, and interesting, beautiful window shots, overlooking cityscape of the wealthy television executive, and the interesting. There's a wild thing near the end of the film involving a child, and what comes out of his mouth is freaking hilarious, and a lot of things of involving this child and putting people on the slut list or the whore list or the smut list. Thank you, the smut list. So this is a really wild film that deals with you know, kind of conservatism versus smut and sexploitation and sex films, stag films. A lot of fun. This is a wild film. That it's like a sketch film, but it's also kind of a bizarre conspiracy government film with a very bizarre ending too, that makes you kind of call into question what the hell is actually going on. This is 1974's Video Vixens, and this was directed by a guy who I believe did predominantly X-rated films. And what he did was, you know, this is not an X-rated film, this is not a hardcore film, but he brought, I believe, his hardcore flavor into a kind of a sex comedy. And it really shows. It brings something unique and a little bit more sexuality than you normally see, a little bit more nudity than you normally see. And for anybody out there who's interested, some extremely large, real penises in the films. Lots of breasts, some butts, lots of vaginas, hair, and a great twist involving pubic hair on a woman. That's all I'm going to say there. And look out for two ladies that are also in a film that I've reviewed in this YouTube page from Little Miss Innocence. Look out for those two ladies. You will find them in here, and you'll find, yeah, you're going to find some really interesting things with vaginal pubic hair in this film. You're going to see that. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like 1974's Video Vixens. Thank you so much, and good night.